Welcome back to Mastering MHA MBA and the final part of Chapter 6. We understand the control process and the types of control. Now, in Part 3, we open the toolkit, the practical instruments managers actually use to keep work on target and under control. Start with big, complicated jobs. A project is a one-time activity with many tasks that must be done in the right order, on budget, and by a deadline. Renovating a home, launching a product, building a new campus hall. Project management is the work of planning, supervising, and controlling all of that, so it finishes on time, within budget, and consistent with the goal. The first project tool is the Work Breakdown Structure, or WBS. You take one huge task and break it into smaller and smaller pieces, each with a clear deliverable. There is a rule of thumb called the 100% rule. Your breakdown has to account for 100% of the work, no more and no less. Nothing important left out, nothing wasteful left in. Next, two scheduling tools. A Gantt chart lays out every task as a bar on a timeline, so you can see at a glance what should be happening and when. Its cousin is CPM and PERT, which maps the tasks as a network of connected nodes. The longest path through that network is the critical path, and it sets the fastest possible time the whole project can finish. Slip on the critical path and the whole project slips. Now the second big tool, quality control. The philosophy here is total quality management, or TQM. Two ideas sit at its core. Do it right the first time and never stop improving, what is known as continuous improvement. The belief is that you can always find a better way, so you keep hunting for it. How do you control quality with numbers? One tool is the control chart, which plots measurements against an upper and a lower limit. Stay inside the limits and you're in control. Drift outside them and something is wrong, so you investigate. Push this to the extreme and you get 6 sigma, a standard so demanding it allows no more than 3.4 defects per million. That is a perfection rate of 99.9997%. Third tool, inventory control. Hold too much stock and you tie up cash. Hold too little and you run out. One classic method is the economic order quantity, which automatically reorders a fixed cost minimizing amount whenever stock drops to a set point. Your local supermarket does this hundreds of times a day. The other famous method is just-in-time, or JIT. Pioneered in Japan, JIT schedules materials to arrive exactly when they are needed, so almost no inventory sits around. It slashes carrying costs, and for decades it was the gold standard of lean operations. But JIT has a hidden fragility, and the last few years have exposed it. Here is the current story. When COVID and then a wave of tariffs disrupted global supply chains, ultra-lean JIT left companies with empty shelves and stalled factories. So the pendulum has swung toward just in case. In McKinsey's 2025 supply chain survey, about 43% of leaders said they plan to shift more of their supply chain into their home region over the next 3 years, and many are now deliberately holding extra inventory as a buffer. Lean is powerful, but resilience is back in fashion. Fourth tool, break-even analysis. Before launching a product, managers ask, what is the break-even point? It is where revenue exactly equals cost, the moment losses end and profit begins. The formula is worth knowing. Break-even point equals fixed costs divided by price minus the variable cost per unit. Let us make it real. Say fixed costs are $10,000, your price is $8 a unit, and each unit costs $4 to make. 10,000 divided by 8 minus 4 is 2,500 units to break even. Now get better at cost control and drop the variable cost to $3, and break even falls to 2,000 units. Break-even analysis is really a what-if machine for pricing and cost decisions. Fifth tool, financial ratios. From a company's balance sheet and income statement, managers pull a handful of key ratios. Liquidity ratios, like the current ratio, ask, can we pay our short-term bills? Leverage ratios, like the debt ratio, ask, how much do we rely on borrowed money? Two more families. Asset management ratios, like asset turnover, ask, how efficiently do our assets generate sales? And profitability ratios, like return on assets and return on equity, ask, how much profit do we squeeze from our sales, our assets, and our equity? Managers compare these against their own history and against competitors, to spot trouble early. The final tool pulls it all together, the balanced scorecard from Kaplan and Norton. Their insight is that financial numbers alone tell you where you have been, not where you're going. So you track performance across 4 areas at once. Those 4 areas are financial performance. How do we look to shareholders? Customer satisfaction. How do our customers see us? Internal processes. What must we do well operationally? And innovation and learning. How do we keep improving for the future? Money, customers, process, and growth all on one scorecard. Because as this chapter keeps reminding us, what gets measured happens. Let us recap part 3. For projects, use the work breakdown structure, Gantt charts, and CPM and PERT. For quality, use TQM control charts and Six Sigma. For inventory, weigh economic order quantity and JIT against just-in-case resilience. Use break-even analysis for pricing, financial ratios for financial health, and the balanced scorecard to keep every priority in view. This builds on our chapter notes from Schermerhorn and Bachrach's Exploring Management, 7th edition, on control tools and techniques, updated with 2025 data on the industry-wide shift from just-in-time toward just-in-case supply chains. That completes Chapter 6 on controls and control systems. You now have the full picture, the control process, the types of control, and the tools that make it work. If this helped you, subscribe so you do not miss the next chapter, and we will see you there.